Hello, everyone. First of all, don't panic. I realize that I'm releasing this way early. Your final project is not due until July 25th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So why bother presenting it now? Because one of your colleagues asked me to share more information about the final project. So let's get started. Drum roll, please. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go on. The final rubric, it has 5 parts. Review of a subfield is worth 20 points. You should adequately research your topic. Application of theory, 30 points. You should apply at least 2 sociological theories. Now I know you can read, so I'm not going to read everything that's on this slide. But I do want to call your attention to that highlighted information. Please remember, Wikipedia or something similar is not a professional source, so please don't use Wikipedia or something similar. What are some of the sociological theories you'll be reading about in our course? You can see 4 listed here: structural functionalism, symbolic interactionism, conflict theory, and interaction theory. The third part of the rubric, application of concepts. This is worth 30 points. You're going to apply at least 2 sociological concepts. Okay, some of these terms might be foreign to you right now because you just started the course, but I hope this is a good way to start reviewing and preparing for the final rubric. So what are some of the sociological concepts? Well, on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see 7. Structure, culture, socialization, social inequality, social identity, power and authority, that counts as 1, and deviance. So we need to choose 2 sociological concepts from that list. Part 4, adequacy of work. That's worth 15 points. Your work should be thorough, detailed, and accurate. Part 5, transparency. That's worth 5 points. We know we're going to be using outside sources, so we're not going to depend solely on our book. We're going to use outside sources. And when you do use the outside sources, what I want you to do is read the information. Pause, paraphrase it. What did you read? Tell me in your own words. Then cite and reference your sources. Citations are in the body of the paper. References are at the end of the paper. Remember, late papers are never accepted. So we have plenty of time to get this done. I don't want to panic you right now. You have until July 25th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to submit your work. That's not until week 7, so you have plenty of time. Maybe right now you might kind of explore what you're going to be writing about and the main parts that you have to include. Grade distribution. Why is this such a big deal in the first place? Well, look at your grade distribution. We have responses for a total of 200 points. The midterm, which is in week 4, is worth 100 points. And the final project is worth another 100 points. So if you sum it together, you have 400 points. So what percent of your final grade is the final project? 25%. So that's a pretty good chunk, right? So it's never too early to start thinking about it. know that the pressure is very low right now. You have plenty of time to work on this. And when you start working on it, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Please. All right. We have our choice of writing either a paper or creating a PowerPoint. If we write a paper, it is recommended that you write at least 1,250 words. That doesn't include your title slide or your references. It only refers to the body of your paper. Now, what happens if you decide to create a PowerPoint? If you are creating a PowerPoint, it is recommended you use a total of 850 words in the notes section. And I did stress that notes section of your PowerPoint. Use keywords and phrases on your slides. I'm not going to look at your slides in terms of word count. I recommend that you use keywords and phrases on your slides. Where I'm really going to look to see if you met that 850 words is the information that you include in the notes section of your PowerPoint. So imagine this. You're creating this PowerPoint and you're going to present it to a group of people. What would you say when you show them each slide of your PowerPoint? What you would say when you're delivering this is what you should type in the notes section of the PowerPoint. And then by the time you get through with your entire presentation, you should have a total of 850 words. Please don't misunderstand me. I do not mean 850 words per slide. I mean a total of 850 words. So why is there a difference between the required number of words in a Word document versus that of a PowerPoint? Well, in a PowerPoint, not only are you writing, but you're also creating. So I gave you a little bit of an edge there. I know that you're going to have to take your time to create an excellent presentation. So that takes some time. So that's why I cut down the word count if you create a PowerPoint. But one thing we'll definitely not do is submit PDF files. You'll either be submitting a Word document or a PowerPoint. Now, if you don't have Word, which you should because we have access to Office 365, so everybody should have access to that. But if you don't for some reason, give me a RTF file. What's the difference between an RTF and just a text file, a TXT file? What's the difference? The RTF keeps your formatting. And one thing that would truly help me, and would also help you, because if I overlook it, your score would go down. What I highly recommend is using headings in your paper. So what are headings? They're 3 to 5 words, aligned left, and they're bold. They're descriptive of the information that follows the heading. Don't give me a real long sentence and count it as a heading. Just use 3 to 5 words. Bold print. And what words do we use? Well, we can go back and look at the rubric, and we can look at the different parts of the rubric. Remember, it was divided into 5 parts. For each section of the rubric, you could have a heading. That way, when I'm reading your paper, because keep in mind, I read hundreds of papers while I'm doing this. So it would really help me if you included headings in your paper. So here, imagine this. I'm sitting here and I'm reading your paper. I'm also trying to grade your paper at the same time. If I can see the headings in your paper, we'll say, yes, you covered that, and here it is. These are your main theories, and you have your headings in your papers, so it's easy for me to see it. And I just go one right after the other. It helps you get organized when you're writing your paper, and it helps me grade your paper, so we have a win-win situation. So please use headings. They're aligned left, 3 to 5 words, bold print. If you did that for me, I would love you forever. And it also might help your grade by the time I'm done. because I would definitely not miss or overlook something. References, yes, you should use outside resources. You're not required to use them. However, your score will suffer if you simply review what's already in your textbook. It is recommended that you cite and reference at least 2 professional sources. So am I going to be looking for them? Yes, I am. I really combed through your paper a couple of different times, just making sure I find everything, making sure you met all the requirements of your final project. Points will be deducted for a poorly written paper. And you're saying, well, geez, this is not an English class. And I say, well, true, it's not an English class, but you're furthering your education. You're in college. You want to be a success in your career. To be a success in your career, you need to know how to write. Okay? You need to know how to write. Because imagine your writing is terrible and you try to give something to your supervisor or something to your customer, and they look at this and they say, wow, I don't understand what this person's talking about. It's jumping all over. It doesn't make any sense. What's going to happen? Well, if your supervisor read it, they may send you to a writing class or they may just ask you to leave. If a customer gets it and can't make any sense out of it, they just might go to your competitor. Now, if you give it to your instructor and she tries to read it and can't make any sense out of it, what do you think is going to happen to your grade, right? So it's a win-win situation. It's a learning assignment for you. You learn how to improve your writing while you're at school so you know when you go beyond the walls of EGCC, you will be a success. And that's truly what it's all about. You're only in school for a short time, but you'll be in your career for a very long time. And what I want you to do in your career is to flourish. I want you to be all that you can be. Turn it in. Oh, yes, we do use that. It is set. You won't see this Turnitin score until after the due date, until after I grade your work. So please watch your originality. Remember, we were going to use 2 professional sources when we're writing this. Please don't just take something from a source and give it to me and try to put quotation marks around it. And that's what you're calling citation and a reference at the end. Please don't do that. Instead, take the time, read the material, absorb it, paraphrase it, type it in your own words, cite and reference your source. I don't want to just read something you found and put in your paper. I want to read what it means to you. I want you to put it in your own words, cite and reference your sources. Now, Turnitin can have a few hiccups along the way. So I factor this in by allowing you 20%. So if you get a Turnitin score of 20%, you're still good. But if you start going over that magical number of 20%, for every percent you go over 20, your grade's going to drop by 1%. So please, if you just paraphrase, cite, and reference your sources, you'll be doing fine. As I've said more than once, don't panic. You have 7 weeks to do this. It's not due until Sunday, July 25th. That's week 7, the end of week 7. You still have time. But here's a little twinge though. No late papers will be accepted. I understand some of you have qualified for ADA, so you do have a little bit more time than the average person, but that's because of unique situation. Majority of us, we know we have to have that paper submitted by July 25th by 11:59 p.m. Now, please don't wait to the last minute because it's possible where it will close and you won't be able to submit your work. Play it safe. Try to get it in at least a half hour early so you know you're getting submitted to the Dropbox by the due date. Late papers will not be accepted. So please be on time. All right, I want to say a little bit more about PowerPoint. I've been teaching this class for a while, and it seems that the PowerPoint, the people who choose to do the PowerPoint, sometimes do not do as well as those who write a paper. Why not? Well, they can put full paragraphs on a PowerPoint slide. Remember, I don't count the words that are on your slides. What I'm counting is what you put in the note section of the PowerPoint. If you're not familiar what I mean by a note section, please reach out to me now so you have time to plan so you can create an excellent PowerPoint. But if you open PowerPoint, it's three panes, right? You have the main slide. On the left slide, as you start adding your slides, you're going to see individual slides starting to come in. And underneath each slide, you should see like a little wide area, and it says type your notes here. That's where you'll type your notes. And what are we typing? We're typing what we would say if we were presenting this PowerPoint to a group of people. And then by the time you finish, the total word count for your entire PowerPoint should be at least 850 words. Now, can't submit it as a PDF file. Why not? I'll never see the notes section. I have to be able to see your notes. And that's where I'll be looking to make sure you have met the 850 word requirement. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Here's your PowerPoint slide in the middle, right? That's where you're creating it. You're using keywords and phrases and graphics or pictures. On your left-hand side, you have your individual slides starting to come into play. And look, that big red arrow says notes. Underneath the slide is where you type the notes. That's where I'm going to look. That's where I'm going to see if you met the 850 word requirement. Did you? If you're thinking you're going to count the words on the slides, no, don't do that, because I'm not. I'm going to count the words in the notes section. Now, for some reason, there's usually a couple of students in our class that don't do this. And when they don't do it, they don't earn a very good grade. So don't let that be you. We don't count the words on the slides. We count the words in the notes section. I have a video, short, only a segment of it, but I want you to listen to this.
Do these things with PowerPoint. These are the things that people do that drive me nuts. And the only way to show them not to do this is to show them what not to do. So the biggest one I see, the most common PowerPoint thing, number one, people tend to put every word they're going to say on their PowerPoint slide. Although this eliminates the need to memorize, you're told, ultimately makes your slides crowded, wordy, and boring. You lose your audience's attention before you even reach the bottom of your first slide.
Okay, now I'll put that full out there in case you want to listen to it.
Second most common, font.
Okay, so remember, keywords, phrases, pictures on the slide. Click to add the notes under the slide to add what we would say about the slide. And by the time we finish, we know we will have at least how many words? That's right, 850 words. Use a total of 850 words at least. You can always write more, but don't go under. Use keywords and phrases on your slides. Now, I hope this little review helped you. I have more information in the course announcements about your final project. And as we near week 7, I'll remind you what you should include in your final project. But at any time you see my phone number, 757-962-3593. I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So if anybody has ever heard of Missy Elliott, it's 757-2 up, 2 down, 757-2 up, 2 down means VA757. Okay? That's a landline. Please, no text messages. I hope this review helped you. Start thinking about it. Go into our course announcements. I've got more information in there for you to review. I really want you to do well on your assignment. So when in doubt, please call me or send me an email. I care about your success. Thank you for watching.